you hear about that guy who said he had anxiety about the wave of illegal immigrants flooding our southern border, and that same guy even admitted he sees the Mexican flag waving at pro-immigration rallies? Well, that guy's not just some Republican. In fact, he's not even a Republican. This guy's a Democrat. He's a really, really big Democrat.
No denying that many blacks share the same anxieties as many whites about the wave of illegal immigration flooding our southern border. The number of immigrants added to the labor force every year is of a magnitude not seen in this country for over a century. If this huge influx of mostly low-skilled workers provides some benefits to the economy as a whole, it also threatens to depress further the wages of blue-collar Americans and puts strains on an already overburdened safety net.
Oh, and here's that resentment comment. When I see Mexican flags waved at pro-immigration demonstrations, I sometimes feel a flush of patriotic resentment. When I'm forced to use a translator to communicate with the guy fixing my car, I feel a certain frustration. President Barack Obama, in his own words, circa 2006, before he evolved on immigration, I guess. Bob, I got to go to you on this one. Wow.
Really?
Wow. A little different tune. Who says, let's sign in 4.5, 5 million people.
No, I don't think it's that. The list is true. I mean, when you have an influx of illegal people crossing the border, undocumented workers, it does suppress just hang on a second. Can I finish this? Can I finish?
Please.
Thank you. Just as over a century ago, when the Irish came in here and flooded in here, the market, they drove low-collar wages down. And they put a lot of pressure on the dole back then.
Right,
the same thing is happening now.
But I remember you saying Americans don't want those jobs anyway.
What I'm saying is, in the long run, they will be beneficial citizens of this country.
All right, KG, were you surprised when you said when I have to use a translator for the guy fixing my... That's a little derogatory, is it not?
Yeah, obviously, it's very disrespectful. It's an awful statement to make, and for him to have said that, I mean, honestly.
Really?
What do you want me to tell you? It's horrible. But, you know, this just goes to show you when you have this kind of manufacture of a candidate and you shape him and you put words in and you put it out in front, this is what you're going to get. Stuff's going to be on tape and the truth's going to come out. Now what are you going to do about it?
If your computer breaks down, you got to talk to a call center in India.
Let's stay on
and I can't understand what those people talk about.
Greg, he's evolved on a bunch of things.
You're trying to help him, right?
He's evolved on...
You know what's interesting? Here's the biggest problem with immigration. There are two people I trust when I'm looking for answers: Mickey Kaus and Jason Riley. Mickey Kaus says high immigration will hurt employment. Jason Riley says high immigration coincides with low unemployment because it'll increase demands for goods and services. So it's a weird place to be. I think that half of it is true, that like over time it helps.
Right.
But in the initial influx, this cheap labor, what it does is if you're against economic inequality, importing the world's poor means you're supplying a whole other amount of poor people on one end of that equation, which just makes the equality even worse. So that's why blanket amnesty seems so stupid, and why orderly immigration makes so much sense. Why we are for orderly immigration. We want people in line to come in. Blanket amnesty immediately, I think, might be a shock to the system, and politically turning immigration into a voting bloc device hasn't helped.
Right. And can you talk about the tone of those comments?
Well, here's the danger of not knowing your boss's previous statements, right? I mean, if you're later on in the year, so this is the 6th year of the presidency, like you might not know what your boss said before when he was a state senator or governor or in his book, so you need to read that stuff. He might have evolved on the issue. You're allowed to do that. But here they have a monumental task in front of them on communications if they expect to get this done. Something this big that is everybody's paying attention to it means that all hands must be on deck at the White House and throughout the administration. No mistakes, no time for anything else. You better figure out a way to get this done. The problem is for them, voters are burning up the phone lines on Capitol Hill to both Republican and Democratic offices saying, you better do something to make sure that this doesn't happen. So they have a really big task in front of them, and they have so many problems, including our own national security, that they've got to be focused on as well.
You know, one of the things, there's not going to be immigration legislation in Obama's last 2 years. It's not going to happen. I mean, and the other thing, the Senate passed an immigration bill. Let's not forget that. The Democratic Senate and the House refused to deal with it. Now, and that's the Republicans. What makes you think that more Republicans are going to deal with the bill?
Well, they might not.
Do you want to debate immigration? Do you want to debate?
I have a tactical question.
Yeah.
So when President Bush in 2005 tried to get Social Security passed the Social Security reform that would provide private accounts, and about 6 months into it, he was not. He didn't even his own party was starting to say, "Whoa, like, we are not for this." So what he did is to say, you know what? I gave it my best shot. It didn't happen. It's the I don't think that's necessarily the best thing for the country. I think that privatization of part of the Social Security program would have been smart. But tactically, as a president, it was the better thing to do as a leader. I think President Obama is making a huge tactical mistake that will hurt his presidency on every other issue.
But the difference is that George Bush could not have, by executive order, changed the system, right? Obama, the courts will decide this, he is going to do it by executive order.
But why put all
these people in
jeopardy? Then why put all these people in jeopardy and say, okay, we're going to give you amnesty for 3 years until the Supreme Court tells us you're not allowed?
I mean,
I don't think that's fair to them.
Is it better that or sitting worried about somebody knocking on your door?
Do you think he believes that the best thing for the country is to provide amnesty to 4 or 5 million people?
I would certainly. I would. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think he believes that now?
I don't know what he believes, but I believe we have
those comments that he just spoke in his in Audacity of Hope. Is that the name of the book?
2006.
I don't know.
06. Those don't conflict with what he's saying now.
No, but I mean, I agree with Dana.
How about yes?
No, wait. No. What is true, I think what he was saying, my interpretation of it is what I believe too. An influx of people quickly into the workforce. 1 out of 4 people hanging wallboard in this country are undocumented workers. Now, that suppresses the value of a wallboard. It's a tough job, but nonetheless, over time, they will produce and they will pay taxes and they'll be fine.
You know what's amazing, though?
And you'll be able to get and then you'll be able to you'll have a legal do your lawn. That's the thing.
President Obama evolves in 8 years. You evolve in like 8 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You're going to be able to get your lawn done by somebody who's got a green card.
Well, this is an interesting point, that there is a reversal going on in ideology. You have conservatives who normally would be over cheap labor coming out against this, and you have liberals who should be condemning it, who are saying it's great opportunities even though it might hurt the poor.
All right.
That's interesting.
They want us to go ahead.